The number one extreme money obsession that is keeping you poor. Obsessing over bank sign-up bonuses and rate optimization. Essentially spending an enormous amount of your precious time and energy moving your money around here and there so you can get that $300 sign-up bonus from this bank and that 0.2 extra in interest rate from that bank over there. And when any doubt creeps into your mind as to why you're juggling 15 plus bank accounts, you tell yourself, no worries, I'm making money. It is what really clever people do. It is all totally worth my time. But you have to honestly ask the question, are you really making money or are you spinning your wheels actually sliding backwards? Let me tell you about a friend that was once obsessed with this game. This guy, to be honest, a not so bright guy, would spend his entire weekend researching the latest bank promotions, comparing interest rate down to the hundredths of a percent, and moving money around like he was running some intricate billion-dollar financial operation. He had spreadsheets tracking 20 plus accounts, reminder alerts for when promotion rates would expire, and he genuinely believed he was outsmarting the system. But here's what was really happening. While he was making maybe $2,000 a year from all this churning, he was completely ignoring the real wealth game, building out his career capital to increase his income, investing more into the market to allow the market to do the heavy lifting for him in appreciating his wealth, not the 0.1% saving account interest, and slowly and surely growing his net worth, not the number of bank accounts that he had money spread around in. The truth is that this obsession trains your brain to think small. You start believing that moving money around is wealth building, when the real wealth comes from growing your income and investing consistently over time. So I say stop obsessing over the small. Pick one good bank and one good high-yield savings account, then focus your energy on the things that actually move the needle. Rich people think big. Poor people think small. The number two extreme money obsession that is keeping you poor. In the line of thinking small, obsessing over saving money at whatever cost. You download every cashback app, you drive to 3 different stores to find the lowest price on everything, and you gladly wait in line 30 minutes to save $5 in gas. Even when your friends invite you out for dinner, you refuse because you can't imagine spending that amount of money for a meal. But here's what's really happening. You're spending $20 worth of your time and gas to save $5. You stress out about saving $30 from your dinner out with your friends, but you're missing out on investing in relationships that could last a lifetime. You essentially are so obsessed with saving money that you miss out on the bigger picture. That at the end of the day, money is there to help us live the life that we want, not the other way around. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all about saving money. Living below our means and saving regularly is crucial if we want to build sustainable wealth. Frugality is a cornerstone habit of all wealthy individuals. It's just that we want to be wise about how we approach it. So understand the difference between being wisely frugal and being extremely cheap. Frugal people spend money on things that add value to their lives and cut expenses on things that don't. Cheap people cut expenses on everything regardless of the long-term cost. When you refuse to invest in experiences, relationships, your health, or your skills because you're obsessed with saving every dollar, you're being foolishly cheap, not being wisely frugal. Before we go on, let me take a minute to share a free cool tool I think could be beneficial to your financial journey. As you're watching this video, are you curious to know where you stand with your finances? If you're doing well or you need to make some improvements to your financial hygiene? Well, I have just a tool to help you answer that question. By answering just a few quick questions in the Financial Health Awareness Quiz, you'll receive a free, customized financial plan. It will give you a snapshot of where you stand with your money today and specific steps you can take to make your financial future even stronger. So make sure to go to the link I'll have in the description below to take the quiz and receive your free financial plan. Alright, with that, let's get back to the video. The number 3 extreme money obsession that is keeping you poor. In the line of saving money at whatever cost, obsessing over DIY. Doing it yourself everything. Many do this because they believe it is the best way to save money. For some, they just can't stand the thought of paying someone else to do something they think they can figure out themselves. Their pride doesn't allow them to outsource it. They somehow feel such behavior water downs their character. Thus, they end up doing their own plumbing, doing their own taxes, cutting their own hair, repairing their own car, renovating their entire house, and so on and so forth. Yes, some DIY makes sense. There's an immense amount of satisfaction that comes with figuring out something ourselves. Additionally, to have to call someone for every little household activity like hanging a frame not only gets expensive, it can feel silly at times. But when you're stubbornly adamant about doing everything yourself, regardless of the cost of your time and energy, many times you're not saving money at all. You're actually hemorrhaging it in ways you don't even realize. Once my neighbor, in the spirit of saving money, tried installing his own kitchen cabinet. I remember him telling me, how hard can it be? You can find everything on YouTube these days. Not only will I be saving money, I'll be learning some valuable skills. I'm an engineer for goodness sake. I can figure it out pretty quickly. It'll be a piece of cake. But the actual work ended up being far, very far from being a piece of cake. He found that at one point during the process, he needed to buy a couple of specialized tools he would never use again. Also, because he was constantly making mistakes, he was needing to buy multiple replacement parts. And this is the worst of all, because at the end, the result looked so amateur, he eventually ended up hiring a professional to redo the whole project, costing him more in total than if he had just outsourced it in the first place. And we're not even factoring in the other cost, emotional and opportunity. Throughout the whole process, because he was spending so much time with this project, he was getting in constant fights with his wife. Additionally, every extra hour he was spending installing the kitchen cabinet door was in essence taking away his ability to make more money from his day job as a software engineer. Recognize that your time is your most valuable asset, and the wealthy have mastered this principle. So don't get obsessed with trying to do everything yourself. You don't have to. If it is outside of your expertise and you feel like you can spend your time on more valuable activities, outsource it. Now, do you want to see another money-saving behavior at its greatest extreme? Let's talk about that next. The number 4 extreme money obsession that is keeping you poor. In the line of saving money at whatever cost, obsessing over anything free. You're walking down the street and you see a sign that says free, and immediately your brain lights up like a Christmas tree. It doesn't matter what it is. Free pens, free samples, free webinars, free t-shirts. If it is free, you want it. You'll drive 20 minutes out of your way to get a free coffee on your birthday and spend an hour in line for a free donut or a free cupcake. You just can't help yourself. But here's a reality check. Free is not free. It's costing you something much more valuable than your money. Your time, your attention, and your mental clarity. That free dinner you attended, it was actually a 2-hour sales pitch. Those free samples that you collected, they're cluttering your house and you'll never use them. That free t-shirt is sitting in your closet, taking up space alongside 20 other promotional shirts you'll never wear. The truth is that this obsession with free is really just a scarcity mindset disguised as being financially smart. You're so focused on not spending money that you've forgotten to focus on things that actually create value in your life. You're optimizing for the wrong metric. You're optimizing for cost instead of optimizing for results. So stop letting free drive your decision making. Start asking yourself, does this genuinely add value to my life? If the answer is not an absolute yes, walk away, even if it's free. Your future wise self will thank you. Alright, but let's say you're willing to spend some money. Does that alleviate you from this issue? I say not completely, which leads to the next money obsession. The number 5 extreme money obsession that is keeping you poor. Obsessing over the perfect purchase. When it comes to buying things, those of us that are money conscious tend to fall into this trap often. The trap of obsessing over finding the perfect product. Not only has to be perfect in its utility, but of perfect quality and at the perfect price. I remember once when I was shopping for a portable power bank, going down this rabbit hole. I thought because I was going to be carrying this power bank throughout my travels, it had to be just perfect. So I spent literally 3 weeks researching power banks. I read hundreds of Amazon reviews, watched dozens of YouTube comparison videos, compared specs across 20 plus different models, and created spreadsheets tracking capacity, charging speed, price, and brand reliability scores. I was analyzing power banks like I was making the purchase of my lifetime. And 3 weeks later, I finally pulled the trigger on what I considered was the perfect power bank for $49. But you know what I realized afterwards? That the power bank that I bought after all that research was great. But so would have any of the other power banks I had found during my research. In this case, the difference between the perfect choice and the good enough choice was negligible. But you know what is not negligible? My precious time. I was telling myself I was being smart and wise. I do my research, I compare all my options, all so that I can ensure my precious money is being spent most optimally. However, the truth was that I was being dumb. I wasted my most valuable resource, my time, which could and should have been used more wisely. So don't be dumb like me. Don't spend 20 hours researching the perfect $50 purchase. There is no such thing as a perfect purchase. Find the good enough, move on, and use your precious time on higher level activities. I may lose a battle, but I shall never lose a minute. The number 6 extreme money obsession that is keeping you poor. In the line of perfect product, obsessing over the perfect money management system. You create elaborate spreadsheets with color-coded categories, complex formulas, and detailed tracking systems that would make a rocket scientist jealous. You spend your weekends updating your budget, reconciling your accounts, and perfecting your money system. You believe that if you create a perfect system that can track every penny and tell every dollar where to go, you will be set financially. But the truth is that when you spend more time on managing your money than on making it grow, you're focused on the wrong activity. Yes, tracking your money is very important. You want to understand how much you're bringing in every month, how much you're spending on what, and how much you're saving and investing. However, there's no need to spend hours on this activity every week. You don't need to spend 45 minutes obsessing over whether to categorize your coffee purchase as food or entertainment. That is a waste of time. Understand that there is no perfect money system. just one that works for you. In my perspective, these are the only basics you need for a good enough money system. 1. A simple means to track your income and expenses. This could be via a spreadsheet or through an account aggregator tool. 2. Your spending plan, essentially a budget. And it doesn't have to be overly detailed or complex. A one-page, simple budget that shows your major expenses is fine. And 3. A way to track your overall net worth. Essentially your assets minus your liability, so you have the means to track your progress over time. That is it. Simple. The truth is that the wealthy didn't become wealthy because they have a perfect money system made up of 18 tab spreadsheets and a 45 PowerPoint slide flowchart. No, they became wealthy because they have a good enough system that provides them with enough information to help them make wise financial decisions. Again, remember, your money is there to serve you, not the other way around. Number 7 extreme money obsession that is keeping you poor. Let's talk about some investment obsessions. Obsessing over market predictions. You want to get better with investing, so you spend hours every day watching the financial news, reading market analysis, and following every expert who claims they can predict what the market will do next. You're constantly checking your portfolio, obsessively tracking economic indicators, and monitoring every market movement, all in hope that you can predict where the market is going to go next. But here is a harsh reality. Nobody can predict the market. Not you, not the experts on TV, not the guy with 1 million followers on Twitter. A prediction about the direction of the stock market tells you nothing about where the stocks are headed, but a whole lot about the person doing the predicting. So recognize that when it comes to investing, it is never about trying to time the market. It is about time in the market. When you're obsessed with the market predictions, you're becoming a trader, not an investor. You're trying to dance your way in and out of the market, and while there are a few that do make money from such activity, those that do consistently are far and few in between. The ones that consistently make money in the market over the long run do it through a very boring strategy. Consistently putting money into the market, ignoring the market traumas, and focusing on their long-term goal. The number 8 and the final extreme money obsession that is keeping you poor. In line with investing, obsessing over investment asset allocations. You spend countless hours researching the perfect portfolio allocation. Should it be 60% stocks, 40% bonds, or maybe 70-30? What about international exposure? Should that be 20% or 25%? You read endless forum discussions about the optimal mix, constantly tweaking your portfolio by tiny percentages, convinced that finding the perfect allocation is the key to investment success. You agonize over whether to add REITs, commodities, or emerging markets. You rebalance obsessively, moving money around every time your allocation drifts even slightly from your target. And you probably change your investment strategy a dozen times based on the latest article you read or podcast where they talked about a new allocation theory. But here's what's actually happening while you're obsessing over those details. You're missing the forest for the trees. The difference between a 60-40 portfolio and 70-30 portfolio over the long term is minimal compared to the difference between investing consistently and not investing at all. You're spending so much of your mental energy on perfecting your allocation that you're not focusing on the factors that actually matter, like investing more into the market, staying the course, and sticking with a simple strategy for a long period of time. So stop trying to optimize every percentage point and start optimizing the amount that you're actually investing. The perfect portfolio that you never fund is worthless compared to a simple portfolio that gets consistent contributions. Your wealth will be built by how much you invest and for how long, not by having the most sophisticated allocation strategy. Thank you guys for watching. In the line of wealth building activities, if you want to learn my personal ranking of wealth building habits that actually work, please check out my video here. Until next time, all the best.